They heard the barking before they saw her. Loud, frantic, and filled with something deeper than urgency, almost like grief. When the rescue team followed the sound, they found the dog pawing desperately at the edge of a rusted trailer. What they found inside would haunt them forever. The girl was no older than 8. Her clothes were filthy rags, and a heavy rusted chain was clamped around her thin ankle. Her eyes, wide, dull, and empty, looked at the dog more than the people. It was as if the barking was the only sound she trusted anymore. The dog's name was Echo. He had been a canine rescue, trained to search and alert. Saved from euthanasia just 2 years earlier, Echo had been labeled unfit due to aggression issues. But one handler, Mason Rivera, had seen through the fear and trauma. Mason, a retired Marine with scars on both his skin and soul, knew what it meant to be misunderstood. Together, man and dog had learned to heal and to save others. That day in rural Alabama, Echo saved more than a life. He rescued a spirit long forgotten. 3 months earlier. Echo wasn't supposed to be on that call. The rescue unit had been sent to locate 2 missing hikers, and Echo's handler, Mason, had been recovering from knee surgery. But when another teen's dog injured its paw on the trail, Mason got the call. Within an hour, they were flying in. As Echo swept through dense woods, his nose twitching and tail taut, he led the team straight to the hikers, injured but alive near a ravine. Everyone cheered, but Echo wasn't done. That night, back at base, Echo paced and whined, restless. He refused his dinner. Then he began to bark. Not the play with me bark or even the alert bark. This was different, deep, wounded, like a drumbeat of urgency. Mason knelt. What is it, buddy? Echo raced to the base fence, nosed the gate, and looked back. His eyes, normally alert, now pleaded. Mason made a choice. He called it in and followed Echo into the woods. They trekked for hours, deeper into an abandoned stretch of farmland. Mason's radio crackled. You sure this is something? I don't know, Mason said. But he does. That's when they heard it barking. Echo had broken into a sprint. And then they found her. Her name was Lily. She hadn't spoken in weeks. Authorities believed she had been missing for over a year. Her parents were addicts, long gone. She had been taken by a man who chained her in the trailer. The details were horrific. But what authorities couldn't understand was why she was still alive. Lily had been kept like an animal. But she hadn't become one. Somehow, she had hope. And it was Echo who had become her lifeline. The investigators would later discover that the trailer had been hidden under brush and camouflage netting, invisible from the air and nearly impossible to detect by foot unless someone, or some dog, knew exactly where to go. But how did Echo know? Mason had no answer, only a theory. Sometimes the broken can hear cries the rest of us can't. Recovery was slow. Lily didn't speak. She flinched at touch, screamed in her sleep, and refused to eat unless Echo was in the room. When the state placed her into emergency foster care, she refused to go unless Echo could come too. Mason didn't hesitate. She comes with me. Technically, it wasn't that simple. Mason was single, lived alone, and wasn't certified as a foster parent. But after hours of phone calls, interviews, and mountains of paperwork, the authorities made an exception under one condition: weekly evaluations. She's not just another case, Mason told the caseworker. She's someone's entire world. And that dog? He already knew that. Challenges came quickly. Lily had panic attacks when she heard loud noises, slamming doors, shouting, even laughter. She wouldn't go outside during daylight. She hated mirrors. She'd wet herself at night and cry silently under the covers. Mason, used to silence, found himself learning a new language, one of patience, presence, and quiet strength. He taught her how to brush Echo, how to toss him a toy. Slowly, over weeks, she began to speak again. Her first word, clear as a bell, was Echo. Mason wept. Then came the nightmares. Some nights, she screamed so loud the neighbors called the cops. Mason would wake, rush in, and find her curled in a corner, hyperventilating. Echo always got there first, curling next to her like a shield. One night, Mason found her drawing badly, with crayons she'd stolen from a therapist's office. The picture was of a dog with wings. She handed it to him and whispered, "He came from heaven." "No," Mason said softly. "He came from the same place you did. Hell. But you're both walking out." School was next. They said she wasn't ready. That she was too fragile. But Lily insisted. "I want to learn. Like other kids." So Mason enrolled her in a small, trauma-informed program where therapy dogs were used in classrooms. But she didn't want the school's dogs. She only trusted one. So Echo came, too, certified now as a therapy dog, thanks to the work of Mason and an incredible community of vets, trainers, and volunteers. The first day, she clutched his fur at drop-off. By week 2, she walked in on her own. By month 2, she smiled. It wasn't easy. Bullies said things. Teachers sometimes forgot her triggers. But Echo remained the constant. Her silent anchor. The day she spoke on stage. It was a school event, and Lily had written a short poem. She insisted she wanted to read it aloud. "No pressure," Mason said. "You don't have to." "I want to." For him. The lights were bright. The room was full. And Lily, now 10, stood with her paper in shaking hands. Echo lay at her feet. Her voice cracked at first. Then steadied. "He found me when I was lost. He stayed when no one would. He barked loud enough for angels to hear. Echo didn't save my life, he gave me one." Silence. Then thunderous applause. Mason could barely breathe. 2 years later. Lily is 13 now. She's in therapy, makes art, and volunteers at an animal shelter. Echo is grayer around the muzzle, slower, but still alert. They're a team. And every month, Mason takes them to schools, shelters, and even police stations to talk about trauma, resilience, and healing. Together, they share the story of a chained girl and the broken dog who saw her when no one else did. Because this story isn't just about rescue, it's about redemption. For Echo. For Lily. For all the lost voices still waiting to be heard. Thank you for watching this episode of Pawsitive Tales. If Lily and Echo's story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-life stories of incredible animal heroes. Leave a comment below, what would you say to Echo if you could? And remember, sometimes the greatest healers walk on 4 legs. Stay positive. Always.